and I am joined by, I think, our first ever 4 guest podcast. We had to do some rearranging, and if our producer Jen is watching this right now, she's probably like, "What the heck is going on?" Because we rearranged a lot of stuff, but we're gonna make it work. We're excited. This podcast is gonna be pretty much all things Newton football this afternoon, and maybe give people an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the coaches and a little bit more about the players, and I don't know, get a little excited about the upcoming season. Are you guys excited for the upcoming season?
Very.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
right
yeah.
on.
Absolutely.
Right on. Well, I'm joined by Coach Swede, Coach Powers, Caden Klein, and Nick Milburn, and we're excited for them to come in today and share a little bit about Newton football with us. But I want to start with Coach Swede, and I just want to hear a little bit about, I don't know, your story of how you got into education, and then specifically coaching. Like, why coaching
absolutely.
football?
Absolutely, yeah. So I was very fortunate enough. I went to Dowling Catholic High School in West Des Moines. Went to Truman State University where I played football there for 4 years. I actually also wrestled there for a year, which is interesting, but that's a different story for a different
Another
day.
podcast.
Yep, different day. Okay, yeah, so I actually went to college. I was a pre-med major, actually. Thought I wanted to be a doctor, that kind of stuff. And I don't want to offend anybody or anything, but, I started really thinking about it and doing stuff. And, why would I want to be a doctor? Well, to help people's lives and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, realistically, like I said, not trying to offend anybody, but it was, if I see somebody once a year for 15 minutes, how much am I really helping them out, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I started thinking about, and what's a way I could do that in a more personal level and that kind of stuff, and that's what kind of drew me to teaching and coaching, and I also kind of thought, what kind of job would I just love to do if I didn't have to get paid for it, if I didn't have to do anything like that, that stereotypical question you ask yourself, and I think hanging out in sweatpants with kids in the weight room all day is a pretty good gig to have.
Right
So,
on.
Kind of switched from exercise science pre-major, pre-med major, wasn't a huge shift just to exercise science in general. So
Yeah, right on. And so you said you played football and you wrestled. What drew you to those sports specifically growing up in high school and going on to play
absolutely.
college?
Well, as a kid, I kind of did everything, and I think that's kind of the way to do it. I played football, played baseball, wrestled. In high school, I did track with it too, and so stayed really busy with that. And as I kind of went throughout high school and that kind of stuff, I was kind of torn. For a while, I thought I was a baseball player, and I'm not a baseball player. I kind of love the competitiveness and the physicality of football and wrestling a little bit. And so, in college, I had to make that decision. What do I want to do? Actually, in high school, I had to make that decision. What do I want to do and what do I want to focus on? And football is what I went with, and had a lot of fun with it, and no regrets.
What'd you love most about it?
I love the team camaraderie, to be honest with you. There's the individual sports are awesome. The individual sports are great. But I just love being part of a team, being part of something. I think it teaches a lot of life lessons on how to be selfless, how to that kind of stuff, because you want to push yourself to be great, obviously, and stuff like that. But where do I fit, and what's my role? And things aren't always going to go the way that I want it to go. And so I think that's kind of really good, important lessons to learn in life.
And what position did you play in college?
Nose guard.
Nose guard,
Oh,
right
yeah.
on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
hitting people hard, right on. Okay, so you graduate from college. How do you wind up in Newton?
Yeah, so I was actually very fortunate. I was a grad assistant football coach at Truman State after I graduated there. So I was able to coach outside linebackers, coach a little bit of D-line, learn from some different coaches there for a year. And then it was kind of the decision, do I want to pursue the college level? Do I want to pursue the high school level? What do I want to do? And I'll be quite frank about it. The college coaching stipends aren't the best, especially when you're first starting out. And so I had 2 opportunities really right out of college. I could go up to St. Thomas up in Minnesota and be a restricted earnings coach and make $10,000 trying to live in Minneapolis. Or I could be a teacher and help coach in Ottumwa. So I actually started out in Ottumwa coaching there.
Oh, all right.
Coached pretty much everything under the sun, football, wrestling, and track, as most teachers do, and really enjoyed it. And then we had an opportunity, my now wife, we were dating in Ottumwa. And
Is that where you met her at?
Yep.
Right
She's
on.
from Ottumwa. Yep. She
Okay.
actually had a internship. She's a dietitian here in town at Mercy One. Had an internship at Vanderbilt, and so she was at Vanderbilt for a year. Came back living with their parents, just looking for a job, and we found each other. And
And looking for a man.
yeah,
Found you.
I
Right
guess.
on.
Yeah, I guess. And then she got a job offer in Grinnell, and so she got a job in Grinnell. I was looking for some different jobs. Got the head wrestling job was open here in Newton, so I was able to get that job and
Right on.
been here ever since.
And how long ago was that when you first came to Newton?
Oh man, 13 years now I've been here.
13.
So it's just kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was the head wrestling coach for 7 years, and now this is my 6 years head football coach. So
Yeah, right on. Would it be hard to do head coach football and head coach wrestling?
it's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible. There's so many other. A lot of times I think people think with coaches, they see the game day decisions, they make that kind of stuff, but like it's a full-time job. I'm doing stuff year round, trying to make sure things are prepped for the next year and that kind of stuff. So.
Right on. Well, we're glad you made the transition. Actually, we're glad you met your wife.
Yes.
And then she made the transition to Grinnell, and then you followed with her.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Trent.
Okay.
Tell us your story. How'd you get into education and specifically coaching?
Well, it probably goes back to then. My dad is a former teacher and
Okay.
football coach. So I grew up around the game of football.
And where was that at?
From Jefferson, Iowa.
Jefferson. All right.
So I believe at the time it was Jefferson Scranton. Now it's Greene County.
Okay.
And so kind of started there of
Yeah.
always being, I just remember always being at practice in the in the coach's office.
Yeah.
Even it's kind of weird, but like I even was in the coach's office at times when I was in high school playing playing for my dad and the coaches that I played for. So I was always around it. Went to Central College in Pella and actually spent 4 years with the coaching staff as what we called student assistants then.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of like grad assistants, but we haven't graduated yet. So that experience was very unique. And then kind of the same thing that Coach was talking about. There was a couple opportunities, but I still had to finish a class up. And it was like, they want you to start in July or whatever. And it was like, well, I got to finish this. I got to graduate before I go somewhere.
Yeah.
And deciding between that college coaching lifestyle or teaching. And so luckily I don't get to wear sweatpants and spend time in the weight room with kids. I get to teach a little math. And so
which building are you in?
I'm at the high school now.
Okay.
I spent 15 years at the middle school.
Yeah.
Teaching 8th grade. And then the last, let's see, is it going to be 4 now? Is that where? Yeah, it's be 4, right? Because
3.
you
You
guys-
weren't here our freshman year, were you?
I thought,
I think he was.
I don't know. Well, one of the groups, it's getting up there 3
Yeah.
or 4 years now at the
Yeah.
high school. So it's
Which-
been a
which-
great move.
Which age level do you enjoy teaching more?
Um,
Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah.
Remember, I said you can say pass if you don't want to answer. But
I still coach a little middle school track, so there's
Okay.
my heart really is always there for that age
Yeah.
group. With some of my roles that have changed, it's been a blessing to be at
Yeah.
the high school. They're unique in their own way. I mean,
Sure.
there's some major differences. I've really enjoyed my transition of following a group of kids. So like the last couple of years has always been like kids I already know,
yeah.
and just seeing how much they've changed
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like
Yeah.
if any teacher I'd tell if you could ever jump a couple grade levels and follow a group to just see how they change.
I hear there's a big jump, like from even freshman year to like 11th grade year is like this big jump in
Yeah.
maturity.
I was and even 8th grade to 9th grade. I used
Okay.
to coach 9th grade football here,
Yeah.
and I would have all those kids in class, and every spring I'd be like, well, I don't know, like I don't even know what we're gonna be able to do, like these guys. And then they show up in the summer and fall, and all of a sudden it's like
Something clicks. Huh?
something clicked. They grew up over the summer, and I think that for boys especially, I think the summer is a big growth period for a lot
Yeah.
of kids. So
Right on. That's awesome. So, coaching football. Did you start coaching football right away when you came to Newton?
when
or-
I first came to Newton, I actually coached, helped. I was an assistant varsity girls basketball coach,
Okay.
and then I think my next year I started coaching freshmen.
Yeah.
And so I only coached, I think, that girls basketball that first year. I think at the time they really, like, that first year of teaching, they try to not get you overly involved. It can happen nowadays. If you say you can coach, they'll sign you 3-4 sports before you know it. But I did that, and then I went into football and basketball for a little while.
Right on.
And then have mostly focused on some sort of track and football.
Yeah, right on. I want to circle back around about coaching styles and what you guys have learned over the years, but I want these two to introduce themselves. Make sure you hold the mic up to your mouth. But Caden, I don't know, introduce yourself and talk a little bit about just growing up in Newton and getting involved and how you came to, I don't know, be successful in the sport of football.
Yeah, I mean, born and raised here in Newton. I've played sports my entire life. Both my parents played college sports, so sports have been a part of our life. Like on the weekends, we're watching football games, watching basketball games, all sorts of sports. So just what I've grown up around, and from being a little kid, I played soccer, football, basketball, you name it, I was doing it.
Yeah.
So I think just getting that exposure at a young age has really helped me throughout my growth through middle school and high school. And so I really think starting at a young age, getting development from great coaches and from my parents and whatever it is, getting in the weight room early because we start in, fifth grade?
Pretty much.
Fifth
pretty
grade.
much, yeah.
Fifth grade, we're getting in the weight room. And so from fifth grade to now, you've been in the weight room, out in the track, just getting better every day. And so that's really what leads up to now in my senior season.
Did your parents ever coach anything as you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, my dad coached soccer, basketball, flag football. I mean, he did all of it, and
What was that like?
I liked it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely sometimes you see parents are a little like softer on their own kids, and some are a
Yeah.
little harder. But I feel like my dad had a pretty good balance of
Yeah.
being harder on me, but also like knowing that I'm his son. He's got to have a little love in there also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like he did a really good job. And
Did he ever yell? Because he just seems like the most level-headed, calm guy. Like did he
he's
ever
yelled
yell
at.
you
He's
guys?
yelled at me before.
Oh, okay. Just joking.
But like reasonable. Nothing like
Right.
not based on
shaming
my
you or putting you down in front of
not
others.
based on my performance, but like other things he would yell at me.
Yeah.
Like,
Motivating you,
yeah.
encouraging
Or
you.
if I was being a ball hog or something like that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. What are some of the things you've learned to get you up to this point? So like progressing through, youth sports and then middle school sports, and now you're a senior this year. What have you learned over the years to develop you as a team player and really a leader on the team?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things that stuck with me was I remember I was in middle school and there was a basketball camp with Garrett Sturts. And one of the things he said towards the end of the camps, we were just kind of sitting down talking. He was like, make sure to bring other players along. Like, that was one thing. Because I've always felt like I've been a pretty hard worker and have maybe brought one or two friends with me. But I think after hearing that, just getting everybody involved, and whether it was middle school, going to the Y in the morning before school, like there were some days we'd have 8 or 10 guys going to the Y before school, lifting, working out. And so I think just being able to hear that and have that knowing that bringing the more people I can get to come with me and work out, the better it's going to be and the better our team's going to be for that. So I think
Yeah, you're building camaraderie. You're motivating others to work hard.
Yeah, and
building work ethic.
when you're in the trenches together, like nobody wants to get up at 6 a.m. as an 8th grader. So
Yeah,
and when you're up early working together, it just builds that camaraderie and you feel like you're doing something bigger than yourself.
yeah, that's awesome. Nick, you want to pass the microphone over to him?
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Tell us a little bit just about your upbringing. I can remember you as a baby that I could actually hold, and I don't think I can hold you anymore. You've grown up a little bit, but just going to church with you and your family and seeing you transition. What was it like growing up and getting involved in athletics and bringing you to this place where you are now, having success and staying humble and leading others?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like I've been around sports for a really long time, too. I mean, my mom, my dad, they both played sports and did stuff, and they coached me, did all that. And I also have an older brother, so I feel like even since I was little, I was really competitive. So, like, always trying to beat him, I guess.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that definitely helped me. But, I mean, I do wrestling, track, and football. So, like, and I played basketball, too, when I was little. So, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's all been really good. I mean, I've had a good support system, like my parents and all that.
Yeah.
They've been able to push me, and then also like kind of like what Caden said, like they coached me, they did all this, but they also had a good balance where I wasn't like if I didn't play to a way that they wanted me to, they weren't all upset at me and like
I
yeah.
think there's a lesson here for parents. So why don't you talk a little bit about? You both can chime in here, but like as an athlete, like what is the best way for a parent to support and encourage, but also to push them and motivate them a little bit. I mean, I got an 8-year-old that needs pushed, but I don't want to push him too hard. I want to toughen him up a little bit, but I don't want to push him to hate the game or hate whatever sport he's playing. So, what does it look like for a parent to have that balance?
I would say, I mean, it's okay to be tough on somebody, but like you can't be like super upset at them just because they aren't the best player on the field or like the best person doing something. But it's okay if they're being lazy, and just sitting there and you're like, hey, you need to go do something, even when they're little, like they got to get over that at some point. So I think that's the biggest.
You have anything to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when David Carr was here and he was talking a little bit about this topic. He said something that his dad was really good at was he would use what he called a sandwich method, where he would say something positive first, and then he'd correct them, and then end with something positive. And I think that's a really good method to use. So whether it's before a game and then you're correcting them during the game, then after the game you're all 11 and caring for them again, whether it's like that or if it's just your conversation with them after the game, it's like, hey, you played really well, but I think we can work on this. We can practice this, me and you together. We can do this. And then after be like, but I really liked how you played and how you gave good effort today. And so I think that is a really good method that he explained to us.
I tell my kids, like, I don't care about the goals. I don't care about the basket. I want you to try your hardest. Just give it your all. If you're out there trying your hardest, I'm happy with it. Like, you're probably not going to be the best athlete on the field, but you're going to be a good teammate because you're trying hard, and you're going to lead others because you're trying hard, and they're going to see that and try harder themselves. And so that's my big thing. And then if they're not trying hard and walking on the field or being lazy, that's when I yell. Get moving, and have a conversation with them. But I think, what David Carr said is really good too. And they talk about that even from a leadership role, the positive sandwich or the critical sandwich of having a critical conversation with someone. So, no, that's good. Let's, all right, Coach Swede. What is, and Trent will chime in here. What's one of the most enjoyable things that you get to experience as a coach?
I just love seeing kids progress over time, right? And like I get to see these kids, like they talk about, we start working with them 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and seeing them grow throughout as the time that they graduate and change. And I just love the kids that some of my favorite stories of kids are kids really that have zero talent, really. They have very little talent, but they have great work ethic. They have those kind of things. They show up every single day. They may never be a star of the team. They may never do that kind of stuff, but they're there every day. They have a great positive attitude, and you just know that kid's gonna be successful in life, right? Just because of all the lessons that they've learned, all the things that they've done.
So, would you rather fill your team with players with extra work ethic or extra talent and no work ethic?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we talk all the time. Obviously, there has to be a balance of both if you want to be successful. But, we do talk about CFLA a lot of time in our program and character first, last, and always. And I'm a true believer that if you develop character within your team, then it's easier for them to do the things that are required to be successful, right? Because talented kids can do nice things every once in a while, but if you want to win championships, if you want to win significant games, you have to do things consistently over time. And if kids are good character kids, then they typically do that more often.
Yeah. One of the things, so I coach girls soccer, middle school girls, which found out it's really challenging. You can't coach them like you can boys. It's weird. And I talked to Sarah Patterson about that, and I got some lessons. But one of the things,
she's a good one though.
She is good.
Good one for lessons.
She was one of the best coaches I ever saw do their thing. But one of the things I learned is like the kids, the girls with the most talent on the field, like they naturally have influence because of their success. And so I tried real hard to tell those girls, like, listen, you are a leader. You're either leading people in a good way by your work ethic, or you're leading them in a negative way by not working hard and having a negative attitude. So it's an interesting dynamic, because when you get people with great talent, but then they're leading people, in a negative way, it's how do you come alongside that? And maybe this is a question for you. How do you come alongside those people that have natural giftings and talent, but they don't have the work ethic yet? How do you come alongside them and encourage them? Like, listen, you're leading people. People look up to you. You have influence. I want you to lead them in a right way.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times what I've found out is a lot of those kids, they're really well-meaning. They just don't know the skills of how to be a leader, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to teach them how to be a leader.
Yeah.
And so, some kids, have their own interests and that kind of stuff. And, sometimes it's not going to work out to be a leader, but a lot of kids, you can kind of mold into what you want to see, right? And you have to lead by example. You have to show them how to do that. You have to have that realistic conversation with the kid of, hey, call out the behavior that they're doing, make sure they understand that's not how we lead people. That's not helping situations out. And we talk a lot about how if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk too. And so if you're going to be the person that's, calling people out, doing that kind of stuff, well, you better be doing things right.
Yeah.
So
what kind of characteristics or behaviors do you look at, like when you're identifying a leader on your team? What do you look for? What kind of sticks out to you? Be like, oh, this guy's going to be a leader.
Well, first off, we use this term sometimes in education too, but like, are they a magnet, right? Are kids naturally drawn to that kid? And if kids are naturally drawn to them, then you got to try to use their natural skills to your benefit, right? And so we've got some kids that, people are naturally, they got charisma, they got that kind of stuff, right? And so then you just have to guide them on how do I use that, right? And some of those other behaviors. We're pretty fortunate. We do some leadership training and stuff like that within our program. A lot of the spring, the last quarter of the school year, we'll do a bunch of leadership training and talk to them about, how do you approach a situation? How do you work with teammates? How do you do these kind of things? But one of the biggest things we do talk about as a program and a team is you have to truly like love and care about your teammates because, like anything, if people don't think you care, if people don't think you love them, they don't listen to you, right?
Yeah.
And so if you have to build that, I always talk about building deposits with kids, right? And loving them up and showing them that you care about them and respect for them. And then you can rip them if you need to, right? But you have that built up first.
Yeah.
But
and they know you
them,
care.
Exactly.
When you do that, they know you care, so they're going to take your
correct
criticism.
And a lot of the sad reality is a lot of kids now, they just don't have that in other aspects of their life, right? And so they never learned. They don't have the person that can teach them how to be a leader. They don't have that kind of stuff, right? And so that's kind of what our calling is to teach those kids sometimes.
Yeah, in a way, as a coach, especially for those kids that come from broken homes where they maybe don't have a strong father figure in their life, you guys can quickly become that strong father figure and teaching them lessons along the way.
Absolutely.
That's good. Trent, what's one of the things you enjoy most about coaching?
That you hit a lot of them. It is that kind of that path of we really talk a lot too, and you hear it a lot now, like process and all that. But it's really just about, bettering yourself and then bettering others along the way with you.
Yeah.
And how do you show that? How do you do that? I feel like that's kind of in everything we do. I think like Pastor Steve talks a lot of stuff about it's really that path you got to find your own path, but how you can better yourself along the way, better other people. That took a long time for me to understand.
Yeah.
So I hope these guys they figure that stuff out. I think that a lot of them have. I think just some of the guys recently of being uncommon. You hear the term. You got to be great. Sometimes you have to be uncommon. You have to be willing not to do certain things or that others are doing. And I think our guys have bought into that.
Yeah.
And so as a coach in trying to do that too, you kind of have to do certain things.
Yeah.
That way. And that's. I'm 41 now. I don't know if I figured that out, but I feel like just recently it just starts clear. I think maybe it's probably 8 years ago. You start becoming a dad, things change.
Yeah.
I think you just talk. That the sandwich method sounds really good when you don't think you have to and all of a sudden you're looking at somebody else watching you, and that really opened my eyes. Probably in my last 8 to 10 years of coaching, is like there's people watching.
Yeah. And even your kids.
And now it's your
right?
and then it's your kid, and you're like, you start hearing you say something and it's repeated, and you're like, that's a great sign. So you start thinking about that when you're coaching, and and that was one lesson I think my dad always taught me in coaching, especially early in my career of coaching. It was like, hey man, you got to make sure you find them, no matter what. You got to find them before they leave. So these guys can attest. We always joke I can bite a little bit. It's part of just the passion of the game. I think my passion comes out in those moments, but it's one thing I always try. And if you really have to get after somebody on effort or just certain things, is make sure you get that arm around them and catch them on the other side, and letting them know that this doesn't have anything to do with you personally. It's just helping you grow, helping you become a better player. But as
you yell because you care. And
right.
I
but
heard
like,
Steve on a message one time. He's like, when your coaches stop yelling at you or motivating you, like, something's wrong.
And time and place. You don't want to do it all the time.
Right.
But like,
Yeah,
some of those Tuesdays and Wednesdays when you get off to a good start and things are all rolling and everybody thinks, sometimes it's okay to remind that humble side of, hey, this game can get you.
Sure.
So.
Right on. Sweet, I want to circle back to you. You said you talked about one of the enjoyable parts is watching the progression. So this is your time to build up your players here a little bit. What have you noticed about Caden over the years? What have you seen him grow in, and maybe as a player, as a person?
Yeah, I mean he's been a great kid ever since I've known him. Right, he's been a wonderful leader, a kid you can develop trust and he's going to do the right thing. What I've been super impressed with is his ability to take ownership over his performance, right? And so what he does is, if he knows he needs to work on something, okay, then he's going to go do it. And a lot of times kids, whether they don't really think they need to work on something, whether they don't know how to do it, Caden's just always been a guy that's sought out the right way to try to get better, right? And so he's not afraid of working hard. He's not afraid of doing extra work. Sometimes I feel like I have to remind him, hey, like it's okay to take a break every once in a while, right? But like he has that work ethic, and I know for him, he's got a lot of decisions that he's making in regards to college and that kind of stuff. But I was just super impressed. He went out of his way to work with a quarterback guy this off season, and he knew that if to get our team over the hump, being a returning all-state player, there's still things I need to get better at. And, he took the time out of it to do that. And, I think a lot of kids would kind of settle on their merits and say, hey, I'm an all-state guy and that kind of stuff. But that pursuit of excellence, man, he is the personification of that, right?
Yeah, nice. What about Nick?
Yeah, Nick, I love his work ethic, right? Like he does a great job. He's a kid that's always fun to be around. He's a kid that does everything that you ever ask him to do. We give a hard time, talking about progressions a little bit. We used to have a nickname called Milburn Time, right? Because, both, Nate and Nick, right? I would just always remind them to be somewhere 15 minutes before they're supposed to actually be there.
Hey, good job showing up 5 minutes.
But
today,
Nick. There you go. That's the perfect example of that, though, right? Like he does a great job of communicating and working and doing what he's supposed to do. And, it shows a great sign of maturity for a lot of kids, right? Because a lot of kids just kind of live in their own bubble and do that kind of stuff. But he does a nice job of I think, going out of his way and trying to help himself improve and then also the others around him right now. I think he's done a really good job this offseason of bringing people along with him and that kind of stuff. And I think you see that, he's obviously a good thrower. We have a ton of throwers, right? Like, I think that's
We're switching to track and field, right?
Yep.
Not throwing a football.
Yeah, correct. Yes. Track and field. No, no, we don't have any Milburn passes in our playbook. But no, he does a nice job, and I think when you create that kind of environment, and he gets to know people and makes them special and stuff like that. Like, I go back to the track and throw. Like, there's so many throwers I love. They're just because of the atmosphere that's there and that kind of stuff and the people there. I think he has a big thing to do with that. So
nice. Trent, you got anything to add about what you've seen over these
well,
the coming years or the last few years?
They move a lot faster than they used to. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you hit them all. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Like, I don't know, they're good dudes.
Yeah.
Like, the leadership that they bring. I would say their confidence.
Yeah.
Is, I think everyone goes through that. I think I remember the weight room. I'm still not very big. Weights were never my thing. But like they always talk about confidence, and like you can see that. I mean, from the middle school days to now, just and believing in their ability. And I hope now as they know they can do it. I think the next step probably for both of them is just to let go of that end result. And just really keep diving into that hard work and know that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. There's no stopping it. So just prepare yourself by doing everything, the daily habits, the daily routines, so that way when you're in your moment, it's going to happen. You know, in sports, the ball bounces a funny way. We can't always control the ball that bounces a funny way. I mean, we kind of went through that last fall. It bounced a funny way at a bad time. But the daily habits were there, and I think as you look, I know for me as a coach in that moment and like leading through it, made it so much easier to be able to wrap your head around like, no, but we did the right things. We did the things the right way. It just didn't go our way. But I think, I mean, heck, that's what we talk about all the time into our kids. That's life. Like, you put in the work, and I think that's what these two demonstrate quite often at in school and in practice. I think that's one thing we maybe haven't talked as much about, but like these two do it at school. And I think that's a big deal for kids too. Like there's a lot of athletes that can do it at practice or in their sport, but what are you doing at school, at home, and all those other things? And these two do it. I mean, they are who they are all the time.
Yeah, that's good. There's not a facade. There's not a image that they have one place, but something else. No, that's good. You know, having known you guys for the last couple of years and you for a lot longer, you know, you guys just seem like very humble people, and humility is a word I would use to describe you guys. And even, you know, Caden, I sent you a message a while back. You did a radio interview, and just even to see you guys, you know, leading with your faith as well. And you know, the cool thing is you guys are plugged into youth group, you're plugged into church. Like studies have shown, like when you have a strong faith life, your performance is better on the field. You're a better teammate. You have higher character, higher work ethic. Like those are studies, secular studies that show this. And so it's cool to see you guys involved here at the church. And then, you know, we believe that some of that transpires out on the field as well. And even the way you guys lead. And so, yeah, that's been cool to see. All right, Caden. What do you enjoy about your coaches? You know, they kind of talked about the things that they've seen.
Oh boy.
And you guys.
I would say one of the biggest things is that encourages us, especially me, and I think all of our teammates, is seeing how much time and like work that they put in. I mean, like Swede was saying, like it's a year-round job for them, and they're doing stuff year-round. We see that, and we notice it, and whether it's in the weight room, getting new programs, new workouts and stuff, like they're putting in the work to make us the best that we can be. And I mean, when we see that they're putting in the work, like it just encourages us even more to know that we're not doing this just for ourselves. They're not doing it for themselves. But we're doing it all for each other.
Right on. Got anything to add, Nick?
Yeah. I think definitely like the standard that they set with like pretty much all the coaches, but like they're both teachers and like everything, so you're around them a lot too. But like just being in practice or in school, like you have people looking, and you have to know like they have high standards for you. So like you can't just kind of go off and do whatever you want and be like everybody else, I guess. And I think that really helps like we've been talking about, like growing and growth through like your whether it be like faith or like just maturity and stuff like that. And I think that definitely something I'm grateful for.
Nice. All right, I'm going to transition a little bit, but I'm going to come back to you, Nick.
All right.
So you guys, you both had older brothers that played football at Newton. And so how instrumental have they been in your progression, or maybe watching them, or them pushing you, or even beating on you as a younger kid? You know, I was around many wrestling matches where Nathan was always picking on you. But like, how did that go? Like how instrumental were they in like the success that you guys have today? Like how much were they responsible for some of that? Maybe not all of it, but some of it.
I mean, definitely. So like I talked about earlier, I'm pretty competitive just in general. And like my brother from when I was little and up, like we would always mess with each other. I mean, we're pretty decently close in age. So, I mean, we did that, but it was just it was fun. But I also I always wanted to beat him. And as time went on, I mean, I'm going to say it, but I think I can beat him in a lot of the things now. But like that was pretty much the goal. But I think he just pushed me to just be better at everything I did, just because, I mean, I had that competitiveness like going into it. But also at the end of the day, I knew like he was a leader for me, and I could just love him when we're done doing whatever, whether it's wrestling or track or football or yeah.
Yeah, I think I even heard some conversations where he was like leading you, like, no, you're not going to go do that.
Yeah.
Because that's going to lead to bad things. So just like even, from lessons that maybe he learned or saw, like being able to pass that down. And he was in here not that long ago
Yeah.
on a podcast, and he was talking about all those times that he was picking on you and beat on you a little bit, that it was good for you.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, Caden, Cody, your older brother, like how instrumental was he in, whether it was watching him or his work ethic or him pushing you? How did that?
Yeah,
play into
well,
your
like Nick
stuff?
said, like having an older brother definitely toughens you up a little bit. You get thrown around as a little kid
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
But hold on, you both are bigger than your brothers now, right?
Now.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're about the same size, but
Really?
I'm taller and maybe a couple pounds heavier, but not normally.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
but-
saw him in the weight room today. He was looking pretty ripped. So. You guys
But-
are catching up to date. Anyway, go ahead.
But one of the big things for me, my sophomore year, I got to play with him on the team, and I think one of the biggest things was knowing kind of what the culture was like from him. Like you coming into basically a whole new team from freshman year to sophomore year, and the culture's different. The guys are different. Like people are playing super hard. The guys are bigger and stronger than you. I was playing linebacker at about 160 pounds, and you get some 250-pound linemen coming at you quite often.
Yeah.
So and I would say Cody was the one that hit me the hardest at practice ever, because he would run right at me and lower his helmet right into my chest, and I'd just take it. But definitely, I mean, toughened me up even from when I was a sophomore. I mean, not just as a little kid. So just kind of welcomed me to the varsity level and got me ready, prepared for games, because we faced some really good running backs that year. And so I think having him there to help me out and give me confidence, and because I did not think I was going to play that year, especially as a 160-pound linebacker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just having the work ethic that he had and following in his footsteps. And he played his sophomore year at running back at 145 pounds. So I was like, I can do it. I mean, yeah, he did it, and he figured it out. So I think just having that confidence from him and him, like, keeping my head up throughout the season, and I think that was huge for me.
Yeah. Would you say there's anybody else on the team, maybe when you were a freshman or a sophomore, that you looked up to, that kind of took you under their wing, or maybe you just saw as an example of the type of player or leader that you wanted to be?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the linebacker room, we had Nathan and Eli Stewart, who both go to church here. So both those kids were super good to me. They taught me how to play linebacker, how the defense works, how varsity level football works, and they were great to me. I mean, as a sophomore coming in, as a senior, sometimes you could be like, oh, you're just a dumb little sophomore, why you even playing? But they were great to me, and so just really helped me to have a great season, and showed me how to be a leader.
Yeah, right on. Nick, what about you? Do you have anybody last year or even your freshman year that you looked up to?
I'd say freshman year, probably Caleb Mattis.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know him super well until track season, actually. And then we kind of started talking and stuff. And I just feel like at the time, I was still, like, obviously maturing and growing because I was just a freshman. But I don't know, he had a really good character. And I feel like I was kind of drawn to that at the time. And I don't know, yeah. He seemed like a great person that I could look up to.
Yeah, that's good. All those are good kids. All right, coaches. Going into the season, what are the preseason rankings? What's Newton ranked?
I don't know if anything's official.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
come
anything
out.
official yet. I think we'll have pretty high expectations for us, though.
Yeah.
I think I've only seen one guy in his opinion, right? But what do you have? It's like fourth, something
Yeah,
like that.
he-
Yeah.
I mean-
so I think there will be some high expectations for us.
Yeah. So how do you manage that as the coach? How do you manage, like, man, here's these high expectations, but I don't want us to get focused on a ranking. I don't want us to get focused on all the the attention that's being put on us. How do you manage that?
Well, it's kind of interesting because, obviously there's a balance to it, right? Because you want the team to see that people take them seriously, right? You want them to see that. You want to see people have confidence in them and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what I try to tell them is anything that's happening right now doesn't really matter. Like, we're a long ways away from mid-November.
Yeah.
And so no matter what some person has on their social media of us ranked somewhere, doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you have to prove yourself. And so when you go out there and we don't care what people think about us right now. We just want people to respect us at the end of the season. So
Yeah, right on. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah, and that's where I think just having guys like these two that are always just doing what we got to do.
Hmm.
Because that's, I mean, when you have those expectations, you got to go out and do it. Like, it's not just gonna happen.
Right.
And you know, the better you are, the better you get from others. So this year there's a good chance every game we play we're gonna get the best from that team because they want to beat us. They want to be us, and we used to say that. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's some teams that we used to have always played, and our kids, they always seem to want to talk about them, and it's like, well, why don't you want to talk about us? Let's be us. Let's go be us. Let's make them want to be us. And I think we're really close to that. And I think that's kind of been a mentality of Coach Swede for a long time. Is we are us. Like, let's go be it. And show it. So that's what we're hoping and looking forward to doing maybe a little bit. So.
Right on. All right, Caden and Nick. Caden, second team All-State last year, right? Utility guy. How do you manage, and even your success in track this year, the past couple of years? How do you manage that that success, but also the attention that it gets you, and maybe even some expectations that goes along with it? How do you balance that? How do you keep from getting prideful, maybe, and stay humble?
Yeah, well, I mean, I found out through my success with track that it's very fleeting. I mean, I think I've talked to you about this before at the Rock or whatever it is, that when you find success, I mean, it's fleeting and you need to have a foundation in Christ. And so having that foundation has really helped me and not really caring what the outside world has to say. I mean, 5 years from now, nobody's going to care about being second team All-State, and we'll be doing our own thing, maybe in the workforce, maybe at college. Who knows where it'll be. So
Maybe coaching and leading other
yeah,
kids, or-
it might be. So, and nobody's going to care about it then. So, I mean, it's a cool honor to have, but not getting wrapped up in it or being too and having any pride in it. I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to say exactly, but
What's more enjoyable for you, like individual success or team success? Maybe
definitely,
that's a loaded question.
yeah, definitely team success. I mean, I learned that a lot with track this season. We were trying to figure out our lineup for the state track meet, and a lot of guys were like, no, we could get the most gold medals this way, but we have a good chance to win the team title this way. And so we were trying to find the balance of what do we want? Do we want to have the chance to win maybe 4 gold medals or have the chance to win the state title? And we didn't really believe that we could win the state title because we were like, this team's got more depth in the distance and we don't. Like, what if this happens? And then ultimately our coach decided that the team option was best, and we were all we had his back, and we were like, yeah, we think that's the right option, because if we win a team title, that'll be huge for not only the track program, but for the entire school. And like going into this football season, we just came off a state title in track. So, I mean, I think everything that comes with that team title just flows over to the entire school and all athletics. And so I think that decision to go win that team title is huge, and really having that success that our entire team was able to feel, like, really was like, yeah, this is better than winning any gold.
So if you make it to the state championship and you throw 5 interceptions, but you guys win the state title, that's okay.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach is like, yeah, we don't. But I you know, the danger is I've seen players that if they don't perform well on the field and the team still wins, they don't celebrate. They don't see it as a victory because it wasn't an individual victory. But
Yeah.
football is a team sport where it's about coming together as one unit and playing together, and you should celebrate the successes as a team. Even if maybe you didn't play your best, still, you know, take the win and celebrate. Yeah. What about you, Nick? How do you stay humble?
I mean, I think the best way, at least.
Well, hold on. First team All-State linebacker last year, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. And then last couple of years, shot put. What place did you get this year?
I got 5th in shot and 4th in disc.
At state tournament.
Yeah.
Right on. So, success.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you stay humble? And you're a junior this year, right?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, so like what we were talking about, the track meet, or for state track or whatever, we won it and all that. But discus was huge for me, and I knew that going in because I knew I could throw further than what I did. Like, in the other meets, I hadn't thrown disc that much that year. So I practiced a lot that week, and Jarvis had been telling me all week, like, I need to do good or at that to be able to win. Yeah. Yeah. But so I knew going in, like, it mattered because I was seeded in the first flight even. But like coming out of it, I mean, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a huge deal to me. And I feel like same with like all state and all that, like it happened and I was excited at the time. Like, but like kind of what he said, like success, it's pretty fleeting. Like you feel really good when it happens, but then afterwards, like, yeah, I'm first team all state. Like, yeah, but let's do it again, I guess, you know, but
right on.
so like, I would definitely say, I mean, just, I don't want to say moving on, but kind of like you got to, at some point, you can't just sit around and be like, oh, I was first team all state and like, oh, I got fourth in disc or whatever, fifth in shot
Relishing
put.
in the past,
Yeah,
maybe
exactly. Yeah.
Focusing on the future.
So like, I think I guess moving on, like working towards the next thing, like next year, I mean, yeah, I want to win it all, you know, for football and like track and all that, you know, but, and then I guess you also have to think about like when you win it all, like it's going to be the same thing kind of like, so I guess you can't really like, it can't be like the end all be all for you. Like it can't be the most important thing in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
like it's not like you're going to, I don't know, quit football because you weren't first team all state or something like that. But
do you feel like because it's not the most important thing in your life, it allows you to have less pressure, which can lead to less anxiety and less pressure to perform, and in that you actually perform at a higher level?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it always can still be kind of frustrating with like, you can be like, why is this happening? You know, or like, but like really, yeah. I mean, going into a game, like, for example, I don't know, there's a couple games this year where I felt like I needed to do really well, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. Like, so I don't know.
What would you so priority wise? You know, you talked about it can't be the most important thing. So this is for both you and Kaden. What are your priorities in life? And for any other young, you know, people younger than you that might be listening, like how do you arrange those priorities to help you have the success that you do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, God obviously should come first. I mean, he should be like the base, I feel like, of everything, because that's like my parents always used to tell me, like, that's like the one thing that won't leave you. Like my football career could be over tomorrow just because I don't know, like I tear my ACL or something like that. So really just God should be the rock.
Knock it on wood.
That won't be, yeah. But obviously that, and then like school, that should come first. I mean, I need to have good grades, and then
If you don't have good grades, you can't play.
exactly,
right?
yeah. So just definitely, I mean, those two. Family, that's a big one because you gotta have good relationships with family, friends, all that. But
I want to ask the coaches real quick because, you know, you guys have talked about, and they said how much they see you guys putting in time and energy. How do you guys balance, because family is important,
Oh, absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
how do you balance that time and energy to make sure that you are spending an appropriate amount of time with family and not just spending time at the locker room or at the field?
Yeah, it's a huge thing for us, right? Like, you know, I've got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old at home, and Trent's got young guys too, and I think it's important, you know, we try to make them and bring them into part of our life as much as we can, right? And I try to share those things with my kids. You know, I try to bring my kid around as much as he can. He can't handle a ton right now, right? But we bring him around as much as we possibly can. And
Well, I've seen you bring one of your kids out to the football field.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll
That's
bring
pretty
him with
cool.
me, and I'll try to have him to do things with me. And you know, it's you know, it's funny because you know they always say stuff with kids, you know. It always takes twice as long as it really should do when the kid is there, but it's usually more valuable and fun because you have them there, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important thing. I think emphasizing that, you know, with our staff, there's a lot of coaching staffs out there that I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but look for things like sports and football as ways to get away from their family, right? And I think that we really try to structure things as a way to get and hang out and be with your family, right? And so, you know, this was a change a few years ago that we made, but We don't do anything on Saturdays, for example, as a coaching staff. And there's a lot of teams that'll bring people in to lift, or they'll try to break down film or that kind of stuff. And, I just tell my staff, like, that's your day to be with your family and be involved and do that kind of stuff with your kids. And, for me, just making sure my kids are there, making sure I'm always there to read them books at night, making sure I'm always there to be there with them and those kind of things, I think is a huge thing to do.
How do you balance tough losses? When you come home, like, think about anything. Anybody has a bad day at work, like they come home and they're obviously frustrated, and but then they got to be dad or they got to be husband. So how do you do that? And maybe we should bring your wives on sometime.
That's what I was gonna. One thing I'd say is I think we try and publicly thank them as much as we can, because they like to joke that it's football season. Like, it's not their favorite time. It's their favorite time of year and maybe their least favorite time of the year, because it's not like their job stops either.
Right.
And so, but
and in a way, they're doing more because
they're
you
doing
guys are
more.
gone.
Yes. And like, it's like we're like you've done this too. You drop them off at 7, and if we're home at 7, it's a good day.
Yep. And I think kind of like what these guys were touching on, though, like you think about what's really matters in life, right? And games, a loss is what it is, right? And as long as you trust you're doing the right thing, I can live with that most of the time. And so, but it kind of shows sometimes how much other people value wins and losses more than your family members, because like my kids don't care if we won or lost the game, right?
No, they don't.
We'll play a
helps.
terrible game, and they'll just be running around on the field afterwards and that kind of stuff, right?
I mean,
so like
they come running,
it
up
kind
to
of
you
helps and
give you a big hug, and it's like, well, what am I gonna tell them at that point? No, don't hug me. It's like. It's kind of that helps.
It's interesting how life works sometimes, because like I remember back in the 2020 year, we had this weird situation happen where we had a bunch of kids that went to a team breakfast and then got exposed to somebody with COVID, and our whole all of our senior linemen were then quarantined, and so I find that out, and I go home. And my kid took his first steps that day. So it was like, it's just kind of weird how like you're all frustrated about that, but then something like amazing and like a big life milestone happen. Like it's kind of a way to remind you of things that are a little more important.
Yeah,
so.
Right on. Caden, what would you say, like that priority that Nick listed out? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I'd say mine's pretty similar. I mean, obviously, my relationship with Christ has got to be at the top. I mean, because that's the only thing that's firm and my foundation's on that. And everything could be gone in a day, or like everything else is fleeting, but that'll always be there for me. And then I think second of all is my family. Nick touched on it earlier, but just how they're the big sports system. Like when football doesn't go its way, when school's not going its way, they're always there to lift me up, be there for me, and that's huge for my emotional life, and everything like comes back to my family. I mean, obviously having Christ in my life is huge, but I'd never be where I am without my family. And then after that, you got your friends, because they're like your next family, and they're the guys that you're with every single day at school. So if they're not there for you, if they're not like a family to you, then every day you're at school, every day you're at practice, then you're missing that part of life. And I think having a good friend group and great friends that are always there for you and push you closer to Christ and to being your best self, that's super important also. And then after that, you get school and football, the things that are obviously important still, but aren't super valuable. I won't say they aren't going to be there your entire life, and like it's not something that you can lean on and trust that they're going to be there for you forever.
Yeah, you guys. You guys have got some things figured out at a lot younger age than I did, right? I gave a sermon a number of years ago where I talked about, it says in the Bible that Christ is the cornerstone. He's the foundation which we built everything. And for me personally, I got yanked out of my career in law enforcement after almost 18 years, and had my entire life been built upon my career, everything else on top of family, friend, like everything else would have toppled. But because Christ was what I was built upon, like I rebuilt quickly, right? Because career was, it was not the most important thing. Like my wife, my family, my friends, my church. Like I had all those things, and then my career got thrown for a spin. But yeah, God doesn't move. So good on you guys for figuring that out at a much younger age than I did. Let's see. What else can we touch on? Do you guys have anything you guys want to add, or like anything that I've missed, or? Well, here's a question. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot again.
Oh boy. Oh
And,
boy.
and you can say pass if you want. What position do you coach?
I spend most of my time, I'd say, with Caden and the quarterbacks,
Okay.
and then a little bit kind of with our receiver group, offensive. I'm mostly offensive focus, and so
Alright.
Swede and I spend a lot of time because he's our head coach and he calls all the plays. So
All right.
we spend a lot of time together.
We do.
So do you work mostly with the offense then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So who? This is such a loaded. Who is one of the the best athlete you've ever seen come through your program?
Oh, man.
Because you've been at it for how long, Swede?
So yes, I've been here for 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah,
So you've had a
13
lot of
years.
guys come
Some
through.
We've
guys
had some
through.
good athletes. Yeah.
I mean, there's different levels of like when you athlete is such a
Loaded.
like
yeah.
because there's like
All right.
you can go like athleticism, like that's all
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah.
If you're on the 1 yard line and you needed to punch it in,
It's a good.
who is the guy I could give the ball to this guy and he would get me a yard every time?
Caden Klein. That's who I'd pick right there.
We still think he got it.
Yep.
Too.
All right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
All right.
Up at Decorah. Yep. Yep. That's the guy I'd probably pick. Yeah.
All right. Defensively, if you had a guy that you needed that 4th and 1 on the goal line, who do you want? Whether it's on the line or at linebacker, stuff in the hole.
I'm trying to think of. Well, Nick obviously
Nick's
would be a
right up
top,
there, 'cause-
right up there. Yeah.
'cause-
And I'm trying to even think. I'm just trying to think of other people too. Like, 'cause we've had some really good players. Yeah, like as far as like stuffing a run or something like that, Nick is right at the top of the list. If it was like covering somebody, Nate Lampy would be a guy that I could always count on covering somebody or locking somebody down in regards to that. So
Who had the strongest arm you ever saw?
Ooh. Well, the funny thing about the time that I've been here in Newton, we probably throw as much now as any group other than one. So
You do. Like I grew up in
like,
Newton
right?
in the 90s.
Like so, that's kind of an interesting
Passing
question.
is something new to me.
Like the guys that I've like coached, and I did freshman for a long time, so
Yeah.
I didn't always get to see him as varsity level. But Tyler Wood would probably been up there as a quarterback, arm strength, and ability to throw.
Right on.
And athleticism too. He was a good one. Arm strength isn't everything.
Right.
I would say it's
Right.
more of knowing where to go. So I mean, this guy here, he's pretty good. I mean, I like to joke when people ask about him. I said, well, you got to remember as a quarterback, he played 4 freshman games and 10 varsity games in his career at quarterback. So
Yeah.
I think he's coming along pretty good. So we're excited to see what he can do.
If you had another quarterback, where would he be playing? Like if
Him?
somebody was better than him at quarterback, where would you be
he
playing?
could play anywhere we want.
Well,
like that's the
like,
reality.
that's-
Like that's when I talk to college coaches, I literally tell them he can play anywhere. He could play a quarterback if you feel like he's a fit in your system. But if you don't feel like that, he could play running back. He could play slot receiver. He could play DB.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just read an article about, so I'm a Broncos fan, Bo Nix. They were talking about Sean Payton has this formula he uses for processing speed for quarterbacks. And he has this whole formula, a number of times they got sacked versus interceptions. And anyway, I was highly encouraged as a Broncos fan because Bo Nix had a very low ratio, even better than Patrick Mahomes. So, but he flat out said he's not at Patrick Mahomes level. But anyway, processing speed. So here's a question for you, Caden. Like, the game moves fast. Like, as a quarterback, how hard is it to process everything going on in front of you, especially if you're getting chased by someone Nick's size?
Yeah. It's tough, but yeah, my speed definitely does help because if everything doesn't go how it's supposed to, I can just start running for my life. But I mean, it's tough. Obviously, it takes a lot of reps, a lot of time. But I think you just got to slow it down before the snap, before anything's moving. You got to figure out where the defense is, everybody's which guy you need to read, focus on. And then remember, you got the right play, you got the right guys going in the right places. So I think having our risk coaches definitely help because not very often do I have to tell people, like, move to this side or tighten down or you're on the wrong side. So
Yeah.
most time people get it in the right spots, but every once in a while you get a little bit of that. But
How often do you get to call an audible?
um,
Do you get the freedom to do that whenever you want, or is
no, I haven't called any audibles.
oh,
before.
so like
yeah.
coaches play like
Yeah, not yet.
We'll see.
all right,
Yeah.
There's some dabbling yet to be done.
Man, I can remember. So, junior high football, like I don't ever play. I didn't play quarterback, but everybody got injured, so like they stuck me in there. And the first play they call, I audible it, and the coaches were so mad. I never played quarterback again. Anyway, no, it's good. What are you looking forward to most about this season?
I don't know. I mean, all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
just being with the guys. I mean, Thursday nights are some of the best nights of the year. I mean, we're hanging out, talking about the game the next day. We eat dinner together, and then
Team
we just
meal. We're getting to supply
yeah.
another team meal this
we
year. We're
hang
excited
out in the
about that.
locker room for who knows how long. We sit in the ice baths. Some guys freezing, shaking there, but yeah, those nights are just awesome. I mean, hanging out with the guys that you love and getting prepared for the next day where you all gonna go perform together and fight and bleed and do all for each other.
Is there a particular game you're looking forward to more than others this year?
Well, obviously, we get to play the two teams who were in the state title last year, so I think the game against Pella, who's kind of always been our rival, so I mean, being able to play them again and being able to face North Polk is going to be awesome, the defending state title
Yeah.
winners. And then another game I'm really hyped for is the Indianola game. That's our homecoming game, and they're in our conference, so we play them in every other sport, but we haven't played them in football before. So, yeah, I'm pumped for that game, too.
Right on. And Pella has a new head coach this year. Is that right?
They do. Yep.
So they're going to be going through some transition. But what about you, Nick? What are you looking forward to most about this season?
I'm kind of like Caden, I guess.
Everything?
Yeah, pretty much.
right on.
I mean, it's the best time of the year. So
That's what our pastor says too. Like it's like I can't wait for football season.
yeah,
So, any particular game you're looking forward to?
pretty much just what he said,
Yeah.
and then the playoffs. So
In the playoffs.
yeah.
Right on. There you heard it first. Nick said making playoffs.
Yep.
Set the goals early, right? What about you guys? What are you guys looking forward to most about this season?
Man, I don't want to cop out, but echo kind of what they talk about, right? It's just so much fun to be around. You know, I love the coaching staff that I work with. I'm blessed. We've had a lot of continuity in that group. We have a great coaching staff of guys that genuinely care about our kids. They're fun to be around. So I just enjoy the interactions I get to have with those guys. I enjoy getting to be around the kids every single day. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a blast.
Right on.
I kind of go to this just every year, and the boys will probably laugh here in a minute, but kind of with the idea of coaching and teaching is just that joy of seeing others do things well. Like,
Know
I mean,
exactly what you're
you
gonna
know,
say.
like, but like, I don't know, like I didn't used to always think that, but thinking back to like, it doesn't matter how I perform because the team came out the way we wanted to. And then learning that as when you lose the ability to play. I know as we get older, we think we can keep playing certain times, but it's like you like take 2 running fast steps and you're like, okay, maybe we'll just demonstrate a little slower next time. Or
Do you guys have any
and
examples
so-
of recent injuries from trying?
Well, not from that, but
Well, I hurt my foot a couple years ago.
well, yeah, you
but
did because you
it
were
still
running
kinda
and
hurts, but-
demonstrating.
yeah.
But I always end my Thursday night speech with, "I can't wait to watch you guys play," and just like, or if it's not that, it's like I really can't wait to watch you play. I love watching you play because that's really what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're giving them little things, but really once they get out there, man, it's just
Yeah.
you're trying to help them along and in quick moments, but the joy of that.
All the time and effort, the off season, the coaching, you get to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, it's
And-
nerve wracking though.
Yeah.
Because we've been going since
Yeah.
we call it clinic season in January, putting plans together of what we think these guys can do. I always think it's nerve wracking because
I always think I always think it's kind of fun too to watch like things that you worked on all off season as a coaching staff, like all of a sudden, like if it works, like you're just like kind of like, yeah, like that's awesome because like
'cause if it
all
doesn't-
that time that you put in, all that research and stuff like that you did on those things, and like seeing it be successful, I think is really rewarding because it kind of motivates you to keep doing it.
Has there ever been a play that you've like drawn up and you're like, it went terrible and you're like, we're never doing that again?
Yeah. Yeah. We do that at times in practice. There's always times in practice where we just kind of mess around. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to say mess around, but try some things and
Yeah.
see if it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And there's certain people we know can't throw the ball, so we don't ever have any passes for
Yeah,
them.
we let them, especially after they try to throw it.
Yep.
Oh, right on. Was there anything else you guys want to touch on? You guys good? Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. You know, we're cheering you guys on. Like I said a little bit ago, like, you know, we've been blessed as a church to host team meals. You know, we grill hot dogs and burgers for you guys on a Thursday night through the year. You know, feed you some cookies. I think Wyatt Weeder holds the record for like 8 hamburgers eaten in one night, which was ridiculous. And then he had to lose it all for the wrestling season coming up. So, but no, we'll see if maybe you can beat Wyatt's record this year.
Oh, we'll see.
8. Okay.
That's a lot.
But we enjoy partnering with you guys. And, you know, one exciting thing that we have is this building campaign that we're doing. You know, a turf facility, indoors, a 33-yard field. It's not going to be that wide, but it's going to be a place that if it's raining outside and you guys need to walk through some stuff, like we want that to be available for you guys to be able to use and just a continued partnership with your program. And so thanks for letting us be a part of it.
We appreciate all the support you guys give us. So.
Yeah, man, happy to do it. And, you know, it's fun to see Newton football have success and the players have fun and, you know, yeah. So thank you guys. And thank you guys for as coaches. You know, I do know you guys spend a lot of time away from families. You guys spend a lot of time and energy pouring in to kids. And, like, it can be frustrating at times when you're not getting the results you want or they're not doing something you want. But you guys persevere through. And, like, you are shaping and molding, you know, not just players but young men to grow up and do life outside of football. And so it's important what you guys are doing. And, you know, I would say for me personally, to see the classes that came through, you know, your guys' brothers class with Nathan and Caleb and Cody, just the leadership that we saw develop in them over the years, like it's had a trickle down effect. And like, we feel like that, not just that class, because there's others that came before them that impacted them, but they've really impacted, even from a faith standpoint, the guys and gals underneath you guys. So anyway, thank you guys again for what you do. Thank you guys for being here. You know, we're going to be there rooting you on this season. And so I do have, Coach, I've got a book. We read this as a staff. It's called Lead for God's Sake. There's a foreword in there by Urban Meyer. Lou Holtz has a quote in it. But we want to give you this book, and it's on leadership and just some lessons in leadership that we took as a staff. But I don't know, maybe you can get a nugget out of it.
No, absolutely. I love reading. So.
Right on. Well, if it'd be all right, you know, we close every podcast by praying for our guests. Would it be all right if I prayed for you guys to end this?
Yeah,
all right, let's do it. Father God, I want to thank you. I just want to thank you for this time and this space. I want to thank you for the Newton football coaches, and not just the 2 that we have here, all of them, Lord, all of them that are spending so much time and effort pouring into the young men on the football team. And again, not just leading them on a football field, but how to be men of character and how to be men of faith, Lord, and to just develop them into leaders of the next generation, Lord. And so I just thank you for all that they do and all that they sacrifice and all that they give. And Lord, I thank you for Caden and Nick and their leadership, Lord. I thank you for 2 young men that put you first, that want to glorify you, that want to bring others to know you, and lead others into a relationship with you, Lord, and to experience in you what they've experienced, Lord. And so I just thank you for them. I pray that you continue to just use them on the team, whatever sport they're in, Lord. Use them to come alongside other young men to lead them and lead them by example of what work ethic looks like, what support and encouragement looks like, but also what it looks like to not have success and then bounce back and be ready the next week, Lord, and even using them to, again, lead others in their faith. And so, Lord, I just thank you for their leadership. I thank you for even their families, Lord, and the way that they've raised them to be the young men that they are and supported them the way that they have. I thank you for their siblings as well, Lord, older brothers, but also for Caden, the younger sister that he's leading as well in his home, Lord. So just continue to use them. Lord, I thank you for Coach Swede and Coach Powers, their wives. It's they make a sacrifice in the season as well, Lord, and it's they're in the thick of it too. And so we just pray that you can give them patience, an abundant amount of patience with their spouses, and even a lot of times probably raising kids on their own at times, and let the coaches be just filled with joy and goodness when they come home from practice or from a game, Lord, so that they can be a dad and that they can be a husband, which is more important in the long run, Lord, than any success on the field.